In the mountain forests of central Japan, there is a species that has been described for over 1,300 years. It appears in imperial records, in shrine ledgers, in the field notes of 19th century naturalists, and, increasingly, on the memory cards of motion-triggered trail cameras. It is, at first glance, a fox. The right size, the right silhouette, the right cautious gait at the forest edge. But observers, both medieval and modern, have reported something that the red fox of Europe, Vulpes, does not possess: more than one tail. In mature specimens, as many as 9. For most of recorded history, this animal has been treated as folklore, a spirit, a trickster, a deity. The Japanese call it kitsune, and yet the reports are strangely consistent across regions and across centuries. The same anatomy, the same behaviors, the same preferred terrain, the same seasonal movements. When we strip away the supernatural language and read what observers actually described, not what they believed, something else comes into focus. Not a spirit, a species. This is the zoology of the impossible. The earliest known reference appears in the Nihon Shoki, the second oldest book of classical Japanese history, compiled in 720 AD. It records, among the provincial tributes, the sighting of a white fox with an unusual number of tails near the village of Ono, in what is now Shiga Prefecture. The encounter is noted not as myth, but as omen, a factual observation interpreted by the court as meaningful. It is the first of many. By the Heian period, shrine records across Honshu describe foxes with multiple tails attending small offerings of fried tofu and rice. At the Fushimi Inari shrine, outside Kyoto, caretakers have kept continuous logs of fox sightings since the 12th century. A nearly unbroken data set, spanning 800 years. The pattern in these records is worth pausing on. The animals are observed repeatedly at the same shrines across generations. They accept ritual offerings. They avoid confrontation with humans. They appear in pairs, and occasionally with young. In 1897, a naturalist named Hiroshi Takeda, a contemporary of the early Meiji-era zoologists, led an expedition into the mountains of Nagano Prefecture to confirm or refute these accounts. His field notebooks, held today in the Tokyo University archives, describe the direct observation, at a distance of roughly 40 meters, of a red fox with 5 tails, clearly distinct, moving independently. He attempted to photograph the animal. The plate did not develop. He never published. Under the proposed classification, the Japanese 9-tailed fox is designated Vulpes novemcaudatus, the 9-tailed fox. It sits within the genus Vulpes, the true foxes, closely related to the red fox, Vulpes vulpes, from which it likely diverged between 2 and 3 million years ago. Genetically, if specimens were ever obtained, we would expect it to form a sister clade, the product of long isolation on the Japanese archipelago, followed by sustained anatomical drift in a direction we do not yet fully understand. Its habitat is narrow and specific. The species is reported almost exclusively from old-growth cedar and broadleaf forests of central and western Honshu, and the mountainous interior of Kyushu, at elevations between 600 and 1,500 meters. It prefers terrain with steep, shaded ravines, abundant groundwater, and a dense understory, conditions which, not coincidentally, also favor the sighting of Shinto mountain shrines. The diet is opportunistic, as one would expect from a fox. Small mammals, voles, hares, the occasional weasel, ground-nesting birds, insects in summer, fallen fruit in autumn. But there is a supplementary food source that has sustained this population for at least 1,000 years and may be critical to its survival: the ritual offering. Shrine attendants across Japan have, for centuries, left bowls of Abura age, fried tofu, at Inari shrines. The nine-tailed fox has, in effect, entered a commensal relationship with Japanese spiritual architecture. It is a symbiosis. The tails are where the species departs most sharply from its known relatives. In Vulpes novemcaudatus, juveniles are born with one tail, as in any fox. The additional tails develop progressively through adulthood. One new tail produced, on average, every 50 to 7 years of life. Tail count encodes age in the way that growth rings encode age in a tree. A nine-tailed specimen would be, by this logic, between 400 and 600 years old. The tails are not ornamental. Each additional tail is a dense, fatty reserve, an energy store the animal draws on during lean winters and during the extended hibernation-like torpor that some specimens appear to undergo. A fully developed tail bundle can represent up to 1/3 of the animal's body mass. At the tip of each mature tail is a cluster of specialized cells, most likely derived from the same photophore lineage found in certain deep-sea fishes, convergently re-evolved here in a terrestrial mammal. When the animal is stressed, threatened, or engaged in a mating display, these cells discharge a pale green bioluminescence. In folklore, this is recorded as kitsune-bi, foxfire. In biology, it is a threat display. The species' most famous attribute, its reputed ability to change shape, to deceive, to appear as a human, survives transposition into zoological language remarkably well. The nine-tailed fox is an extraordinary camouflagist, capable of exploiting the play of light and shadow in dense understory to a degree unmatched by any other carnivoran. Combined with vocal mimicry in the corvid range, it can reportedly reproduce human speech at short distances, and a suite of volatile pheromonal compounds produced from glands at the base of each tail. Compounds which in controlled field tests with other mammals have demonstrably altered behavior and perception. The effect on a lone human observer at dusk in unfamiliar forest is entirely explicable. In intelligence, the species ranks with corvids and small primates. It caches food. It uses simple tools. It recognizes individual humans. And it remembers across years, across generations. Reproduction is slow, befitting a long-lived species. A mated pair produces one kit every 5 to 7 years. The juvenile is raised cooperatively, remaining within the parent's territory for up to a decade before dispersing. The evolutionary history of Vulpes novemcaudatus is, necessarily, a reconstruction, but a plausible one exists, roughly 2.5 million years ago, as the Japanese archipelago began its final separation from the Asian mainland. A founding population of red fox ancestors was marooned on the emerging islands, isolated from the broader Vulpes gene pool. These animals entered what evolutionary biologists call a refugium, a pocket of habitat that preserves a lineage and subjects it to a distinct set of pressures. The pressures on Honshu were unusual. The island's steep topography made large territory impossible to defend. Winters were long and prey was thin. The species that survived was the one that could store energy efficiently, slow its metabolism between feeding periods, live longer, and reproduce less often. Across millions of years, this pressure selected for the physiology we now propose: the fatty tail reserves, the extended lifespan, the quiet conservation of caloric expenditure. The bioluminescence is harder to place, but analogs exist. The Japanese firefly squid, Watasenia scintillans, produces blue-green light through photoproteins that appear elsewhere in the natural world, only rarely. If a terrestrial convergence were to occur anywhere, the damp, dim, pathogen-rich forests of Honshu are a plausible site for it. What we are looking at, in other words, is a relict, a small, ancient, specialized species of the sort that survives in the gaps of a shifting continent quietly for a long time. In the last decade, trail camera installations in the Japanese Alps have returned several 100,000 hours of footage. Most of it is empty. The rest is almost entirely made up of deer, bears, martens, and unremarkable red foxes. Almost. A small number of captures, fewer than 20, across 9 installations between 2019 and 2025, show something that biologists do not have a name for: a red fox moving through forest in the expected manner, apparently carrying additional tails. The images are low resolution. The motion is fast. In every case, there is an alternative explanation: a trailing injury, a second animal obscured behind the first, an artifact of the camera's shutter. In every case, the alternative explanation is possible. And in every case, it feels, to the researchers reviewing the footage, slightly strained. At Fushimi Inari, the shrine ledgers have not stopped. The attendants continue to note fox sightings, with occasional remarks on tail count. No one makes a formal claim. The ledger simply records what is observed, as it has for 8 centuries, in the same measured hand. The species has not been captured. No specimen has been obtained. No genome has been sequenced. It has only been seen.